Hi, welcome to Hobby Life. This is part 5 of my Paranormasight playthrough. If you haven't seen the other playthroughs yet, go check them out if you're not planning to get spoiled on anything. I do a quick recap of what I remember at the start, so yeah, check those ones out. If you don't like commentary or voiceovers, stuff like that, then I wouldn't recommend this video for you. Go check out one of the commentary list playthroughs. But if you do like sticking around for me, thank you, and I hope you enjoy. In the last time we played, we essentially went through the detective's route. Um, Tsutsumi got his curse stone, which was the ability to. It's kind of, if anyone tries to mislead him, he can kill them. We also learned a bit about what circumstances like brought them there. They're investigating a separate case from essentially their co-worker. One of the co-workers, like the noobs, maybe not co-worker, but like another officer was killed in the park. We also learned a bit about a potential serial killer in the past that I'm thinking has ties to like maybe a previous instance of the Rite of Resurrection being done. Um, yeah, there wasn't too much. Honestly, a lot of it was just getting background information on stuff. Hopefully, we'll get a bit more just like actual story progress rather than back lore this time. We are probably doing Harue's storyline though, so they're probably going to give us her backstory and stuff, I'm guessing. And then I'm hoping once all that's like out of the way, we're gonna get the chunk. We're gonna get like actually into the story. So oh, I didn't know we could zoom out like this. Okay, so yeah. I'm gonna be doing Harue Shigima's storyline. Been trying to avoid this one just because I don't like this character. Uh, I actually don't even remember how I voiced either of these characters, so yeah, pardon the inconsistency. Okay, when the son of Harue has kidnapped, oh, a botched investigation by the police resulted in the child's murder. Okay, so he wasn't killed just of like regular circumstances. A year later, it's Hive investigator helped resolve unsolved case late at night. Something strange sounds good. So good. Okay, so she's gonna get it while she's with him then. Looks like everyone gets their curse while they're with someone. Okay, so like I guess for her they're just jumping straight to they're jumping straight to the curse receival. Kill them! The flame bearers. Kill them all! You have acquired the power of the curse stone, a haunting clappers. You can use it to kill those with fire or a fire starting device on their person. This seems like the most unwieldy. Answers back. Comes back. Clack clack. Last like kills by burning one who is in possession of a fire or a fire starting device. Red, red, red. Everything has dyed crimson. My home is burning to the ground. It's so hot. It's hot. So hot. I must call for help, but I cannot speak. My throat must be burned up from the smoke. No, I think I'm already on fire. That's right. I'll just use the clappers. Clack clack. Is anybody there? Oh, you can actually hear the clacking in this like audio clip. Okay, maybe during the game, we're gonna have to use these like audio cues too to tell who's attacking us. Clack clack, why is no one coming? I'm going to burn to death. How did it come to this? Oh right, her. It must be the work of that vixen who appeared suddenly and enchanted my lord. That witch! Those hauntingly cold eyes had my lord dancing in the palm of her hand. Perhaps I was also taken in by her. How many innocent people did I lure under orders? This must be karma. Sound of a heavy bell. It feels like my head will split open. Ah, right, the evening bell. That must be why nobody can hear the sound of my clappers. I've got to do it louder. Clack, clack. Let's see what else I'm missing. Oh, that's it. A murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. Now, kill. Can you hear it, curse bearer? You who so strongly desires the right. Kill them. sorry, I'm still recovering from a throat infection. I don't know. Shigema Mansion reception room. Back with me, ma'am? I hate this guy. Can't say I understand what just happened, but it certainly seems to have put you in a good mood. This might be the first time I've ever seen you really smile. Okay, so she likes having this curse power. Dang. Why do they have to make her so sultry? Sweet dreams? Housewife. Harue Shigema. The Haunting Clappers. Shumoku Bridge. 11-year-old son Shuichi was kidnapped and murdered about a year ago. Death result of a mistake on the part of the detective assigned to the case. A mistake which enraged the kidnapper and had him cut off all contact with the police, leaving no room for negotiation. Incident was covered up and Shuichi's killer remains at large, leading the aggrieved Harue to call on services of private investigator Richter Kai to uncover the truth. Came from a line of samurai who put their residence in Honjo during the Edo period. They assumed important positions in the police force following the Meiji Revolution, thereby protecting their family's elevated status. Even today, many in the Shigema line work as police bureaucrats and senior police officers. So that sits in the upper echelons of the National Police Agency, has been adopted into the Shigema clan through an arranged marriage. It's also a highly respected agency. Maybe they're related to Tsumi somehow? However, as her family prioritized work above all else, it wasn't long before Haru's marriage grew cold. I don't think she was the one that was with Tatsumi though, because their kid was the college kid, unless they had two kids. Though she wants for nothing, she is isolated from her neighbors and withdrawn from society. Seeing her son grow into a young man gave Haru a purpose in life, but it was cut short by the kidnapping incident. Following the incident, deep depression, breaking the son in fits of shouting. Cheerful, loud, and fading, she took to making side remarks at her husband, which only further soured the relationship. She transferred to another area for work and now rarely returns home. Up to live in a large empty mansion alone. I mean, yeah, I would think that this, like, the way that they word it makes it seem like it's Tsumi, but it's also clearly not. No. Not dreams. Sounds like something I might want to hear about. The telephone. This mansion has a private line. A fax machine. It can send images to other places along the telephone network. I don't really know how it works. Most houses don't have one. I really find a use for it. Sorry, I'm just gonna, I don't 100% know how I want her voice to be yet, but that's how I remember doing it. The color television. Father bought one as soon as it hit the market. He likes to have the latest gadgets. Unlike the latest models, there's no remote control. We've had it for a long time. Back when it was new, we all gathered around it and marveled at it as a family. But with father and my husband being away so often, it quickly fell into disuse. Yeah, I might stick to this, because, huh? Well, I'll be damned. Is that what I think it is? Goodness, you made me jump. It's just a silly little sticker my son got from somewhere or other. He put it up just before. Well, you know what happened. I still can't bring myself to take it down. Let me take a closer look. I knew it. It's Head Hencho from way back in set number 1. This is a real collector's item. Excuse me? Don't tell me you've never heard of the mockingbirds. The what? They're the hottest new craze. Cute little birds dressed up like rough and tumble delinquents. I've never heard of them, but this certainly seems to matter to you. The best part is, nobody knows who made them. They just started showing up around town, and soon enough they'd won everybody's hearts. The story goes that they're made by some anonymous artist who covertly leaves them behind in a specific location. So they're this world's Banksies. No one knows when or where they'll show up next. They're basically an urban legend of sorts. To think one would turn up here of all places. It's a good sign, I'm sure of it. Oh, well, that's nice. Huh? Head Henshaw. Approach the net. No, that's quick. Be in the right place at the right time in Hondra, you might find all 20. Finding all 20 will bring good luck. This better not be like the way to get the true ending or something like that. A stereo unit with separated speakers designed for home use. My husband insisted on buying one, even though he isn't one to listen to music often. An arrangement of flowers. We bring in someone to do it. I don't even know what the flowers are called. An old hanging scroll. I don't know who painted it. It's been hanging here since before I was born. My heart's still racing. This is it, my chance, at long last. Let me bring you up to speed. We were in the middle of a chat when you suddenly started spacing out. And the whole time you were grinning to yourself like you just won the lottery. Care to tell me what that was all about? Well, where to start? Interesting. Very interesting. So the haunting clapper's curse echo appeared out of nowhere. Told you how to perform the rite of resurrection and gave you the curse you'll need to do it. Have I got that right? That's right. So it's all real. Honestly. I still find it hard to believe. But I guess I have to now. I saw that cursed stone appear in your hand myself. Looked like it popped clean out of thin air. With evidence that clear, there's no denying that there's some supernatural force at work. I don't think you quite understand. Oh? This isn't about evidence, and it isn't about belief. It's more than that. I know it's real. The moment the curse appeared, I knew everything before it even said a word. It was already there in my head, clear as day. You just knew, huh? It was etched onto my soul, along with the curse echo's resentful memories. So I can feel it, what it was like. Dying like they did, hundreds of years ago. Wreathed in flame, writhing in pain as my flesh blackens and my blood boils. I can feel it. All the agony, all the rage. It fills me with bloodlust. I think I need to kill someone. Anyone will do, just as long as they're carrying fire. I see. That could be a problem. You think so? From what I know of you, I was sure you'd see it as an opportunity. The stronger the desire to resurrect someone, the stronger the urge to kill. That's how it seems to me anyway. Good grief. Talk about a spanner in the works. I would say we take stock for a moment. Remind ourselves where we've come from and where we're going. That might be a good idea. That's what you hired me for, ma'am. To look into your son's kidnapping last year. To uncover the truth behind the abduction and murder of Shuichi Shigima. Oh yes, I remember. They never did find the one who did it. That's what I'm here about today. In fact, kind of you to let me drop by so late, by the way. I've been turning over every last stone, and I've come up with a grand total of 1 lead. So you said. As far as the police are concerned, it's a cold case, but I've managed to make some headway. I remember. You were just about to tell me. Kidnapping and murder case that took place in Honjo Sumida around 1 year ago. His son, Shuichi, age 11, was kidnapped on his way home from school with the ransom being demanded that same evening. Thought a simple extortion scheme, but when it came to light that the Shigima family was closely tied to police and Shuichi was in fact the grandson of a senior official, it was quickly assumed that the perpetrator was acting upon a grudge against the police force. Kidnapping was treated as a direct attack against the good name of the police, and a large-scale investigation was launched that used the best equipment available to trace phone calls. Unable to catch the culprit, losing public's confidence, culprit grew cocky, reached the breaking point, she resolved to hand over the ransom as fast as possible. Wouldn't give in demands. Lost his temper. Ultimatum. Never make contact again. Unbelievable. Looks like everyone ends up in the river, though. Born in the early 70s. You know, we still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. Tell you what, why don't I tell you what I've found, and then we can make a decision. Alright? I suppose there's not much point going over the kidnapping itself. No, I'm very familiar. Then I'll leave that for the files to cover and just confirm a few things about the case. The police traced the culprit's calls back to, let's see here, Northern Oyoko River, here in Sumida City. That's quite a wide area. That's right. In the end, they never managed to nail down exactly where the calls were coming from. But it was almost certainly the same location that Shuichi was being held captive, since Shuichi's voice could be heard during the killer's calls. Northern Oyoko River is quite a distance from Shuichi's normal school commute, factoring in that he was seen at school but went missing before he arrived at his house. It's likely that he was abducted by car on his route home. Maybe, but... Exactly. Shuichi was a clever boy. He never would have gotten into a car with a stranger. That's right. I was very firm about that. I know he understood too. I even saw him warning the other children. It's possible that they forced him into the car. The only issue there is, there weren't any witnesses to the kidnapping. You can't bundle someone into a car with that many students around and not be noticed. But nobody came forward to say they saw anything suspicious. So did they target him at some other time? Or some way away from his usual route? Both of those seem a little far-fetched. Which raises the question, how did the kidnapper pull it off? The police never managed to find an answer. In the end, they decided that the kidnapper must just have gotten lucky. Well, why not turn the problem on its head? The kidnapper managed to convince Shuichi to get into their car, but how? That means it would be a police officer then, potentially. The only thing that makes sense to me is if they were somebody that he would have a reason to trust. A teacher, perhaps, or a relative, or somebody else that he knew. But all of the adults Shuichi knew had alibis. The police checked them all thoroughly. They did, huh? No one throws numbers at a problem like the cops. But what if it wasn't someone he knew, or rather... What if the culprit disguised themselves as a police officer? That would explain why he didn't find them suspicious. The Shigimi family has close ties to the police, after all. He would have had a reason to trust them. You might be right. But surely that couldn't have... Well, there's a problem with the theory. You'd be surprised how much police officers stand out. That's sort of the point, after all. They're meant to be a visible deterrent against crime. But here's another interesting little bit of trivia I happen to know. When you ask people to imagine someone suspicious, nobody pictures women or children. Even kids who've been warned about stranger danger often subconsciously expect the danger to look like an adult man. Besides, Shuichi was the sort of boy who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. He must have had a very strong sense of right and wrong. That's right. Wait, surely you can't mean... Now you're getting it. If, say, a young woman approached Shuichi asking for help, what would he have done? If someone like that said they were lost and asked him for directions, would he have gotten into a car? He might have. My husband always told him that a man had a duty to watch out for women and children. You could certainly argue that kind of attitude is outdated nowadays. But if Shuichi believed it, then we might have something here. Then you think the culprit was a young woman? But it was a man's voice on the phone. She might have been an accomplice, or maybe she didn't even realize she was being used. If anything, that would explain why she hasn't come forward. She herself might not realize she had anything to do with the case. So the question is, did anybody see Shuichi speaking with a young woman on the day of his disappearance? See, what I said about people's biases, that goes for witnesses too. And I figured that maybe, if I started asking new questions, I might get some new answers. So I spent my day asking around Shuichi's school route, seeing if anyone had seen something. And one man thought he had. Do you mean he saw it happen? Well, I can't say that for sure yet. It turned out he wanted something from me, so we asked if we could talk in private. Several hours earlier. Alright, this should do. There's no one around. We can speak in confidence. Excuse me, what was your name again? This guy. I knew it. Jonochi. Got it. Well, Jonochi, I'm all ears. Just so we're on the same page. You're a private detective investigating Shuichi Shigima's kidnapping. Do I have that right? Of course. What else do I look like? How should I know what a private detective looks like? Well, forget it. Look, I'll tell you straight. My life is in danger. I need your help. You'll excuse me if I caught me a little off guard. Let me ask you straight. Who's trying to kill you? A student called Michio Shiraishi. What the hell? Interesting. A schoolgirl, eh? Sounds like you've been naughty. It's nothing like that. That girl, she's a murderer. I'm the only one who knows, but I saw what she did. Michio Shiraishi. I saw her kidnap Shuichi Shigema. Come again? I saw her talk to him on the street and lead him away. I didn't think much of it at the time, but then he went missing. She murdered him, I'm sure of it. Or at least, she's got something to do with it. That's why you're here. That's what you're here for, isn't it? Then you can't let her get to me. If that's true, you've been sitting on some valuable information. Why didn't you tell anybody? Well, you see, if you can't explain it that, I don't have any reason to believe you. I couldn't. She told me she'd kill me if I spoke a word. You're telling me a schoolgirl had you scared for your life? So you've been sitting on it all this time and you think she's coming for you now that you've spilled the beans? Yes, that's exactly it. That's it, exactly. I'm begging you. Don't let her get me. Arrest her, I'm telling you. She's a demon. Well, you seem to believe what you're saying. But it just doesn't add up. How could a schoolgirl have a fully grown man so terrified? You don't know what she can do. She'll curse me. Curse you? I'm sorry, but you're losing me here. It's true. Her house, it's... Ah, forget it. Why do I even bother? You seem dubious enough to believe me, but I should have known you'd never understand. Enough. I'll find someone else to help me. Hey. Hmm. Okay, the plot thickens. When they said young girl, I did think maybe it was like one of the other two, but the dead girl, yeah. I I can hardly believe it. At the time, I thought his mention of curses was just crazy talk, but I'm starting to see that there might have been more to it. Then, if we can just find that girl. Curse or no curse, if she was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, then there's a good chance she knows something. On top of that, I did some digging on the man I spoke to. His full name's Kohei Jonochi. He's a teacher at Komagara High School here in Sumida. A teacher? Then the schoolgirl. Is one of his students? I think that's very likely. At last, we've got a lead. Hopefully, it'll be the breakthrough we're looking for. You know, we still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. Okay, I guess I still need to ask you about the other stuff. The Rite of Resurrection, huh? I read about that in an occult magazine the other day. Apparently, some old book showed up recently with all the gory details. And they say that the rite can be found somewhere in Honjo. I remember the first time you told me about that. It felt like my prayers had been heard. Like I had hope, real hope, for the first time. Ever since that awful day, I've wondered, what if I hadn't sent him to school? What if I'd just paid the ransom? Not a day goes by when I don't think that if I'd done something differently, Shuichi would still be alive. You can't blame yourself, ma'am. It's the culprit's fault, not yours. Though I know that won't help any. Grief is funny like that. I'm guessing that's why you're after the right? Guess I didn't need to ask. It's written all over your face. I can tell how much he meant to you. But, and this is a big but, if this right is a real deal, using it will mean killing someone and stealing their soul. Is that a problem? If it comes to that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you. Oh, that's a shame. A shame, huh? That's all? I thought, if I'm going to be competing with other curse bearers, then your detective skills might come in useful. You realize you're talking about ending someone's life, right? Don't you see an issue with that? I think any parent in my position would happily kill for a chance like this. That's so, is it? Dear, oh dear. What have I gotten myself into? If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood on your hands yourself. I don't need you to kill the other curse bearers. I only need you to find them. I won't be party to murder, ma'am. Not even for a client. I mean, but he helped, like he was there for Shogo's. I think I'm gonna save just in case, but I think, I don't think he's gonna take the kit pay anyways, but I'll just say it, I think. I see. I didn't realize you were so stubborn. Let me say though, it's not like I don't get what you're going through. As long as you're not killing anyone with your own hands, maybe I can help you out. What do you have in mind? Well, how about stealing someone else's curse stone after they filled it with soul dregs? If that was all you were after, then I could lend you my services guilt-free. If the other curse bearers want to kill each other, that's their business. I'm not trying to be a hero here. I guess there's no guarantee that stolen curse stone will work, but we can worry about that later. Well then, I suppose we have a deal. Although, what if I stole a curse stone using my curse? Would you disapprove? That would void our contract, ma'am. Just warning you now. My. Before we go any further, why don't you tell me about that curse of yours? The haunting clappers, was it? That's one of the 7 mysteries of Honjo, if I remember correctly. That's right. The original story did happen somewhere near here, I think. I'm sure I remember hearing that. In that case, my money would be on all the curse bearers being somewhere in Honjo. Our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try and come for you first. We'll need to be ready. The curses make their bearers more willing to kill, so an attack could come from anywhere. That sounds sensible. And if I remember correctly, your haunting clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on their person. Is that right? That's right. In olden times, wooden clappers were used to warn people of fire. I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. Seems like a good curse to have. Simple and straightforward enough to use. Though it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else is on the table. You really think it's good? It's that good? The target can't do much to throw it off, and it has a nice long activation window. It's big that it works on lighters too. You just slip one into your target's pocket. And say that condition were already fulfilled, before they even knew you were there. They wouldn't even know what hit them. Maybe I won't have to actually use it. I could just tell someone I could, and they'd have to do what I said. Threats could work, although without any proof, it'll come down to how convincing you can be. If only could use the curse, then back out at the last second. At the last second? What an interesting idea. I have a lighter right here. We could try it now. That's an interesting proposition, but maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig. Oh, I see. You're an odd one, ma'am, if you don't mind me saying, and I don't think it's just a curse. This is exactly the type of woman I like. Just kidding. You flatterer. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm smitten. As for what we do next, first of all, I think you should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside of your normal routine. Right then. Have you decided what you want me working on? Okay, dang. So this one actually feels like there's gonna be actual branches. Okay, let's go with the right first because I think that that's the route that's not gonna lead to the like a true end. I feel like knowing more about the kidnapping is gonna help overall. Bringing back my son is more important. I want you to help me with the rite of resurrection. Roger that. The rite it is. Odds are good that the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill under the cover of darkness won't be discovered until sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as they can before morning comes. So it's settled then. I'll look into the other curse bearers by night. And once the city wakes up, I can start asking questions. I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. Or maybe he just does both, and like that question earlier was just a debate. I'll even try and find Miss Shiraishi as part of the bargain. Thank you. That's more than enough. Let's think a bit. Okay, so that's all done. I guess the only thing left to do is look at him. Private investigator hired. Friend told me about him. They said he's not very well known, but he's good at what he does. When I first visited his office in Ota City and saw how he dressed, I could hardly believe he was a detective. But after talking to him for a while, I changed my mind. He says some strange things at times, but he seems like the reliable sort. Okay, that's what we need probably. So I do like Richter a bit more now. Maybe I don't like him like entirely just yet, but like I was under the impression that he was like puppeteering the events where he killed Sugar. But maybe who knows? Maybe he goes nuts and like actually kills people. What doesn't need could the force start volte? Wealthy person keeping him afloat, huh? Oh, he said it was Jun. That means he's probably stuck with the other dude that died too. Biggest source of happiness I think is pet female albino parakeet. Amamori, junior high schooler volunteer assists after being involved in a previous case. Is that set up for another game, maybe? I have a feeling he's one of the people that it's a part of that like group that Mio is a part of. Azure Heron Agency. Thought to give it a simple name like Kai Detective Agency. Alphabetically, decided to pick a name starting with an A. Azure Heron Agency. Bird of some ominous significance. Private investigator known as Private Eye. Many are retired police agents. Okay, yeah, that's normal stuff. Okay, so that stuff's all looked at. What else am I missing? Clock, maybe? The swinging pendulum echoes through the room. It feels livelier than usual with Richter here. Usually it's just me. Okay, TV. Okay. Now then, okay. Yeah, so I just have to talk to him. I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find out anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout. Alright. There's no telling what kinds of curses you might find out on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can help it, and try to be ready for anything. I will. Well, if that's all, I should be going. Alright, so now we have two that are occurring at the same time. Uh, so this is around the time when she would die. Let's continue her line though, because I do want to I don't want to like hop back into something different. 1 a.m. Harue Shigima. Shigima Mansion reception room. Okay, so I guess that's what we do at home while the other guy goes out. It's been almost an hour since Richter left. He promised he'd call me if anything happened. But he hasn't. So all I can do is wait and wait. The flowers put me at ease, just a little. That old hanging scroll. I've seen it too often to feel anything from it now. Should I put a record on? No, it's too late for that. I'm not in the mood for music anyway. I'm waiting for Richter to contact me, but he hasn't. It's a fax machine. I really find a use for it. I don't know anybody else who owns one. Oh, let's look at the newspaper. That's different. What's this? A newspaper? It must have fallen off the chair. Isn't this your home? It's a newspaper. I only leave them in here for the guests. I hardly ever read them myself. I don't think I've taken the time to go over one in years, in fact. But it's not like I have anything better to do. Huh. Look at the society article. Looks like the city's biggest problem right now is pollution. I remember how the air and water used to be even more polluted. The river was covered in scum from all the sewage and industrial waste, and it stank so badly it'd make my eyes water. Eventually, people started getting sick, and it couldn't be ignored anymore. Fortunately, it's gotten better since then, though the air around the industrial district is still filthy with gas and smog. To the dollar, metrics on the rise. Culture, maybe? Now they're spending more money. People are flocking to arcades, street aliens, now it's Norris theme parks, gaming machines, pugs. Man, when does this game take place again? Do they even say? They make it seem like a while ago. Everyone attends high school, not even girls. Universal education policy, they call it. Eugenics rebelling, schoolyard violence, delinquency on the rise. My boy's too sensible. Huh. So we can read the other ones more. I don't really watch much television. Feels like all fishing gets past through little black box. Okay, that's... Big thing is the mascot land of Dunkin' Birds and Mockingbirds. Is that what Victor was talking about? You're still young, ma'am. Okay. Clock maybe? TV? Okay, that's everything. Maybe the last thing they want me to look at is the sticker again? No, they don't even want me to look at that. So just think? Eventually just to go out, but I can't just sit here and let this opportunity pass by. First I need to find more soul eggs. Okay, so are we leaving then? Okay, so they want me to read the newspaper? Oh, okay, I have another one. Suicide at local high school. High school jump off the roof about a week ago. She was bullied, I think, or maybe it was something about exam pressure. What? But no, this can't be right. Her name, Michio Shiraishi from Komagata High School? It can't be. Michio Shiraishi, the same girl who witnessed my son's kidnapping, committed suicide last week? But that means Mr. Jinochi was terrified of someone who had already died? Is that what he meant by a curse? I can't work this out on my own. Maybe Richter will know. Why won't he call? Oh, I haven't left it off the hook, have I? Waiting for Richter to contact me, but he hasn't. I've made sure the receiver's on the hook. It'll ring as soon as he calls. Ah, that must be him. If we just don't answer him and we get game over. Hello, Shigima residence. Whew. Richter called me out to meet him and came here to Komagata Bridge. Richter, there's something I need to tell you. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. Please, go ahead. Alright then. I've been poking around some places connected to the Seven Mysteries, looking for curse bearers. And I think I found a few candidates. First, a tall man I ran into in Kinshibori Park. I asked him for directions, but trying to probe him a little, but he turned the questions right back around on me. And he was out of there the second he figured I wasn't what he was looking for. I got the sense curses were nothing new to him. I'm about 40% sure he's a curse bearer. Then there's this middle-aged guy I saw on South Waregesui Street. There's no question about this one. He had one of the curse stones in his hand. He had a nervous air about him too. It was clear he was up to some shady business. I'm guessing it's Jonochi, and I'm guessing he has the darkness one. Gathering soul dregs, I'd bet. He'd make a good target. Next up is a pair, a young man and woman I saw around Goku Bridge. So where was she when we were playing as Tsutsumi? This time, the man came up to me and asked me flat out if I was a curse bearer. I told him I didn't know what he was talking about, and he backpedaled and left. Looks like they lurk around there often. Looking for kindred spirits would be my guess. Though it didn't seem like they were quite working as a pair. Gathering soul dregs in a group might be a decent idea if you could make it work. Actually, wait, who is the one girl we haven't been able to place yet? But I feel like she's someone that's been mentioned as like a side character in one of the backstories that we haven't like deeply explored yet. But with things being how they are, it's got to be hard to find folks one can trust. They've got brass though. I don't know what their deal is, but I'd like to find out. Last is two detectives I've seen sniffing around. The police are involved? Not necessarily. A body turned up in a local park a few days ago, so they might just be looking into that. Still, the park's got ties to one of the 7 mysteries. Might be it was a curse that did the guy in. And if they're sending in detectives from the head office, then something's gotta be up. How do you know where they're from? Let's just say that when you're in this business, there are some faces you get to know. Anyway, that's everyone who's caught my eye. So he didn't see Shogo this time, huh? Oh, wait, I guess... Wait, when did Shogo get killed by her? Oh, he gets killed in the next time. You found them all in so little time? I really did hire the best. It's all in the name, ma'am. Richter Kai, P.I. No, wait. Make that Richter Kai. Investigator Extraordinaire. My. Investigator Extraordinaire. Is that why you can dress like that without drawing attention to yourself? You bet. Investigator Extraordinaire can blend in like a chameleon in any outfit. Well, that aside, the middle-aged man and the young couple sound the most promising, am I right? Whichever we pick, it's still too early to make a move. It seems like the curse bearers are less involved with each other than we thought. Plus, there are still others we don't know about. I say we hang fire and see how things play out. Once more bodies start showing up, that'll get the pot nice and hot. And once it's boiling, our chance will come. There's something I need to tell you. What's up? Well, that girl, Michio Shiraishi. The one who was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping? That's her. Well, she's dead. She's what? The student who committed suicide last week. That was her. I heard something like that had happened. Never got the name though. Talk about bad luck. We finally get a lead, only to find it's turned into a literal dead end. Unless her death was the whole reason Jinochi was so shaken up. He said he was going to curse him. Was he talking about her taking revenge from beyond the grave? Maybe Jinochi was the serial killer, and then he had the like schoolgirls help him without them realizing it. I don't know. Seems like we're back where we started. Not necessarily. That teacher knows something, I'm sure of it. At the very least, I'd put money on him having something to do with Miss Shiraishi's death. That's why he's so scared of being cursed by her. I see. And also, something tells me he knows more about your son's kidnapping. In any case, I think I've got a good idea of what he's hiding. Call it a hunch. A hunch? Well, more of a theory. Care to take a guess? I can't say for certain, but... Um... With murder, maybe? What if Mr. Junouchi silenced Michio Shiraishi with murder? What do you think? What do you think? I see. So you think Miss Shiraishi's death might not have been suicide? That would certainly give him a good reason to think she'd hold a grudge. But I'm not sure I buy it. That might be a little far-fetched. I see. I'm sorry if I disappointed you. I'm not really cut out to play detective. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, no point dwelling on speculation. The truth will out in time. Wait, so do I not get? I don't get another chance to guess. Right now, I think we need to have another chat with Mr. Jinochi. Didn't you want to tell me something? I've already said everything I wanted. Okay, let's think a bit. Standing around is the last thing I want to do right now. We're on Komagala Bridge over Smita River. I'll be on one side, Freeway on the other. Both deserted this late at night. Snow for some blue archers, cutting edge. Okay, I get it. Is anyone around watching us? Is there any stickers here? Oh, yeah. Haha! Which one did I get? Pink Punisher. Cool. What else is there? I mean, I feel like I've gotten everything. Oh, Smita River. Smita River. Water is filthy and horrid, but at night when it's still, looks almost peaceful. Can I ask you something, ma'am? Is the Smita River what you Honjo folks picture when you think of home? I couldn't say. All I can tell you is that I can hardly stand the sight of it. Right. Should have guessed. This is where they found him after he went missing. All alone, floating in that horrible water. All I can think is how scared he must have been, how cold he must have been. What did he ever do to deserve something so awful? I've come here every day since then, and I prayed to the river to give him back, to give me back my son, day after day after day. You know, in olden times, people believed rivers marked where our world met the next. So the act of crossing flowing water had a huge amount of spiritual significance. Back when Edo was founded, the people of Chuo saw the Smita River the same way. They associated the far side of the river with the afterlife. That same place would later become Honjo. All their fear and revulsion accumulated there and took root. But then the Ryogoku Bridge sprang up after the Great Fire of Meireki. Just like that, Honjo was part of the city too. And as it turned from the farmland into a town, the people surrounded it with man-made rivers and crisscrossed it with canals and waterways. Weren't those to prevent flooding? That's what I was told. They were, but that's not all they were for. Their other purpose was to contain all the corruption that had built up on the far shore, and stop it leaking through to our side of the Great Divide. Officially, they were a physical barrier, but unofficially, they were a spiritual one too. So, if I have this right, are you saying that Honjo is a place where the real world meets the afterlife? Exactly. That's why the rite of resurrection is here, rather than anywhere else. I'm sure of it. And it's probably why the 7 mysteries and their curses have survived to the modern day. And I guess that would make this spot we're standing now, right over the water. The border between life and death. If there ever was a place where bringing back the dead might be possible, I reckon it's here. It's funny that you mentioned praying to the river. That might have done more than you think. Is that supposed to make me feel better? Just thinking aloud, ma'am. Well, it's a nice thought. A Class A river? What does that mean? Part of the Arakawa River runs through much of eastern Tokyo and empties in Tokyo Bay. Suino's riverbanks played a key role in transportation. Just like importance, also plays conflict to gather and enjoy activities, seasonal flower viewing, river bathing. Became plagued with sewage issues and surrounding environments were industrialized in post-war period. Unique bridges spans Meter River. Kind of curious if all this stuff exists, because if it does, I might go visit it. Oh, that's right. There's one memory I have of this river. Do you mind if I tell you? Go ahead. It must have been about 20 years now, when I was still a schoolgirl. Back then, the Sumida River was much filthier than it is now. It was full of garbage and industrial discharge. It was scummy and slimy, and it stank. You could look out over the water and see dead cats and dogs and pigeons just floating. And one day, among all the filth and garbage, there was a piece of my missing classmate's hand. What? It was almost a miracle when you stop to think about it. What were the chances that someone would find a part of her that was still recognizable? And that although everything but the palm had rotted away in the water, the part that was left would have an unidentifiable scar, and that they could tell it had been a murder from the blade marks on the bone. Wait, are you talking about the Nejima murders? So you have heard of it. I'm impressed. Alright, I'm gonna check it again. Check this one again, because Nejima murders. Do I have a document on it? 2 decades ago, yeah. So this is the serial killer. Wait, would the teacher have been young enough? Oh no. It's 36, yeah, never mind. It's the shop owner. I assume you were but an elementary schooler at the time. I wasn't really aware of it then. I only heard about it after the fact. Well, she's older than him, technically. I had no idea the victim was a classmate of yours. Oh, so this is what the guy looked like. Does he look like anyone we know now? I feel like he was manipulated. Wait, did all these people just get added now? To be honest, it was all a bit of a blur. A wave of chaos just parting around me. Something like that. They said the rest of her body must have sunk to the bottom of the river. They combed the riverbed, but they only ever found pieces. Everything else must have rotted and flowed out to sea. Afterwards, I heard that all the divers who had been looking for her fell ill. A sorry story for everyone involved, huh? It's funny. Everyone figures the river's filthy already, so one more piece of garbage won't hurt. But every little bit makes it worse. It's a vicious cycle. I know I wouldn't go rooting around down there myself. That's right. Which is why the riverbed is the last place anybody would go looking. Or so was the killer's thinking, I suppose. The times were changing quickly back then. Things were confusing. Everyone seemed to be in a hurry. Young people were moving to Tokyo in droves. Some even ran away from home to make it in the big city. And they made easy targets for bad people. A lot of them ended up disappearing without a trace. You see, back then, if you chopped the body up into tiny pieces and threw it in the river, it would rot quickly and discreetly and sink to the bottom, never to be seen again. Man, she's like super crazy or creepy. Are you saying what I think you're saying? They arrested him shortly thereafter, Fumichika Nejima, the man who killed my classmate and cut her into pieces. He was so methodical about it. It couldn't have been his first crime. And people began to wonder how many other girls he'd murdered the same way. The police never found any evidence of other murders in the end. But the river knows the truth. How many corpses has it swallowed up over the years, I wonder? That same thought spread through everyone's mind, and they started to avoid this area. So really, this river has been rank with corruption for decades now. Or at least, that's how it seems to me. Well, was that interesting? Well, I can see why you don't have any good memories of this river. With all that darkness lurking beneath the surface, there's no reason that you would. Still, if I may, ma'am, I'm surprised you knew so much about the Nejima murders. How could I not? After all, I was the one who found the hand. The police actually wrote me a thank you letter. They said it was only thanks to me that they managed to bring Nejima to justice. That was the only time my father ever said he was proud of me. Huh. I guess it just wasn't the killer's day. Sometimes I wonder if he resents me for it. So the connection here that because she found the killer's hand, maybe the killer got out of jail or something, and then he took her son in retaliation. Okay, so that's all mostly checked. Finished talking to him. I guess this is thinking now. Let's think. Okay, nope. Let's see if there's anything else to talk about. Is something wrong? Not really. It just struck me. It's been 20 years since the Nejima murders. So it has. Not to spook you or anything, but I thought you might be interested in knowing. Life in prison doesn't always mean life. Okay, so my theory might be true. There's precedent for first-time offenders being allowed out on parole after 20 years. Only if they're found to show remorse and the desire to reform themselves, of course. That's right. I'm impressed you know so much. Still, it's hard for someone with a criminal record to reintegrate into society. I hear they've been trying to fix that recently, matching inmates with jobs and accommodation. Oh, really? Man, so inmates have like help finding jobs, and regular people are just like, nope. They keep an eye on them, of course, and make them report in for regular checkups. But to avoid discrimination, they keep the inmates' records a secret from everyone but their employers. They even give particularly notorious criminals new identities so they won't be recognized in the workplace. Okay, let's see if the dude looks like anybody. Okay, let's see if there's anyone with his eyes. No, maybe it's this dude. Oh my god! No, I'm just kidding. Makoto, maybe? Junochi. It might be. It's definitely not yet. Maybe we haven't met them yet. Part of me thinks, or it could be the storyteller. Part of me part of me thinks it's like the janitor or something. Or maybe I don't know. The way you put it, it's like you're saying Fumichika Nejima could be out on a parole right now. Back in society under a new name, with nobody any the wiser. It's possible. As it happens, a little birdie told me about a big name making parole a few months back. I don't know if that was Nejima, but our discussion just now did bring it to mind. I see. How unsettling. Now that you mention it, I just remembered something too. What was it? I was passing Komagata High School a little while ago when I saw someone. A janitor, I think. And I could have sworn he reminded me of Fumichika Nejima. Oh? He looked a little different after 20 years. Yo, if I don't like that's the thing though. If they gave him a job, would they really give him a job at a school near children that that he killed? Much thinner than I remember too. I told myself I was just seeing things. But perhaps. Nah, it's the red herring. He's a red herring. Perhaps it was him after all. Either it's a red herring or it really is him and he's a good guy now. Or this is just a game where like they just everything is exactly as it appears. So, what next? The big question now is what the rest of the curse bearers are up to. Luckily, the Sumida River is a good distance from many of the seven mysteries. It's unlikely that the curse bearers will come all the way here. I can finally have a moment to think. I see. All right. Excuse me. Hmm? This fucking girl. Where did she come from? It's like she appeared out of nowhere. I didn't mean to startle you. I'm terribly sorry if I've gotten the wrong people, but would you happen to be curse bears? Yo, Richter was you were with Rick the dude that Richter literally told that is not a curse bearer. Curse bearers? What's that then? Um, it means someone who's gathering souls for the rite of resurrection. You have heard of the rite of resurrection, haven't you? Everybody's talking about it. Color me intrigued. Care to tell me more, Miss... What was your name again? Oh, silly me. I'm Ayame Tono. University student, Ayame Tono. Let's take a look at her. She says her name's Ayame. I'd guess she's around 20. She must be brave walking around alone this late. Or maybe there's more to it. There's more to the rite of resurrection than meets the eye, you see. So the best way to collect soul dregs is to kill other curse bearers. And that's about the size of it. I hope it wasn't too much to follow. No, I think I got the gist of it. Funny old world we live in, huh? So are you saying you're one of these curse bearers? No, well, not quite. It's complicated. I'm not, but Yutaro is. I could have swore Yutaro is the one who talked to Richter. Is that your boyfriend? Oh heavens no, he's just a friend. His full name is Yutaro Namigaki. I suppose you could say we're partners in crime. Funny way of putting it. Yo, what if... So where's this Yutaro now? Well, about that. He's not actually a curse bearer anymore. He's more like a former curse bearer. You took it. Former? How so? I don't really know the details myself, but apparently he lost his curse stone. Typical, right? He makes such a show of being a top student only to flunk where it counts. I'm gonna turn my voice down because maybe she's implying she took it from him. So now I'm out here looking for curse bearers myself. If you want something done right. So anyway, mind if I ask why you thought I was a curse bearer? Oh, that. I'm terribly sorry. I was so rude. I saw the two of you out late at night, and I suppose I made assumptions. Gotcha. Sorry if we gave you the wrong idea. Out of interest, what was your plan if we did turn out to be curse bearers? Great question, and the answer is, I was going to ask you very nicely for your curse stones. And you thought we'd give them to you? Just like that? Well, maybe not, but you know what they say, you never know until you ask. feel like her... I feel like she has a curse. Actually, no, she doesn't have a... You must really love your boyfriend if you're willing to try something that risky. Oh, goodness, no, we're just friends. My life doesn't revolve around him, you know? Sus. So he lost it? How'd he do that? I wasn't with him at the time, so I don't know exactly what happened. So this is when the cops took it, probably. All I know is that he came back saying he didn't have it anymore. Although, well... It's strange that you'd probe into that of all things. I'm just a curious sort, that's all. Sorry if it's a touchy subject. Oh, I don't mind. I don't particularly care about keeping it a secret. Yutaro can be a little irrational sometimes, so I have to keep a level head on my shoulders. Anyway, you aren't Cursebearer, so I'm just bothering you, aren't I? Please ignore me. So what are you trying to do? So what are you trying to do with this rite of resurrection? Well, Yutaro has his own plan all laid out. I don't know if I can get behind it though. It seems, how do I put it? Self-centered? I mean, if you've got the chance to resurrect the dead, it would be a waste not to use it on someone that really matters, right? So I was planning to steal his curse stone at the last second and use it for myself. Well, until he lost it anyway. Okay, yeah, this is making me think Yoko doesn't actually want to resurrect her dog. I think Yoko wants to resurrect something else. Oh, but don't tell Yutaro I was gonna do that, okay? I don't think he'd be happy to hear it. Of course. Keeping secrets is my business. My, aren't you dashing? Sounds like you really have your heart set on this right. What were you hoping to use it on? You promise you won't laugh? Cross my heart. Well then, let me tell you my master plan. Prepare to be amazed. Ahem. I'm an art student, you see. Woodblock prints are my specialty. Ukiyo-e in particular. Ukiyo-e... You must be a cultured lady. Really? Do you think so? Everybody says it's a strange interest for a girl to have. I feel like I should probably read up on this again, but I don't even remember where it was. Feast of Shadows? No. Telephone booth. Ah, whatever. You know, people often think of ukiyo-e as some inaccessible high-class art form, but that's actually totally untrue. Back in the Edo period, it was the art for the masses, amusement for the common people. So when you think about it, we feel exactly the same thrills from every brushstroke as they did back then. Isn't that fascinating? Huh. Yeah, I guess. And as far as I'm concerned, the undisputed king of ukiyo-e is the one and only Hokusai. Have you heard of him? Sure I have. He's famous. Didn't he live somewhere around here? Back in the Edo period? That's right. You're just as knowledgeable as you look. His 36 views of Mount Fuji are so iconic, they're the only works of his most people know. But Hokusai was so much more than just mountains and waves. That's only the teeny tiny tip of a veritable iceberg of work. I've gotta admit, I only really know him from those landscapes myself. Oh, don't worry about it, anyone can learn. When Hokusai died at the age of 90, he left behind over 30,000 drawings. Damn, son. That's multiple drawings a day for 80 years. Amazing, right? So he kept on drawing right up until his old age, huh? Impressive. But even in his final years, he was never satisfied with his own work. His dying words were, "Should heaven afford me but 5 more years, I shall finally become a true artist." Even on his deathbed, he still thought he had more to learn. He was already the greatest painter and artist of his era. Who knows what he could have done with more time? Well, that's what I want to find out. Hold on, are you saying... Besides, he always said he wanted to move out of 100 houses, but he only made it to 93. Isn't that just tragic? Oh no, nuh-uh. No way this is going where I think it's going. Imagine the masterpieces he could create with modern techniques. I feel all dizzy just thinking about it. You've got to be kidding me. So if I understand correctly, you want to use the rite of resurrection to... That's right. I want to bring Hokusai back to life. Well, that's certainly a novel idea. That's what she'd use it on? What a waste. Katsushika Hokusai. Kyo artist. I'll need to Google what that means again. And the Hokusai manga? Flickr. Here. So it's said to be rather indifferent to money or decorum, lived a life that quite appropriately resembled the... Yeah, it seems like he just cared about his art. Respect. Oh gosh, is it that time? Is that the time? I should be going. I need to get my hands on a curse bearer before daybreak. Sorry for flagging you down out of the blue like that. Best of luck. I feel like she killed us there. Maybe. Or maybe she didn't. Clever but calculating. Popular female. I really wish they would do it more so that you only get to read what you've currently seen from her type of thing. Tried trans. Recently, it's figured out the older man fall for acts she acts a little bit stupid. Approached by Yutaro, though she was not attractive, agreed to date him because his family seemed rich. Huh. Well, there goes trouble. If we're going after curse stones, we should keep an eye on her too, if we can. Why do you say that? Before she left, she wished us best of luck. She's got at least an inkling that we're curse bearers. My. There's a good chance we'll clash sooner or later. We're after the same thing, after all. You head on back to the mansion, ma'am. I think I'll tail her for a while. Alright, so this one was a lot longer than I expected, but I'm gonna call it there for tonight. This is a huge info and lore dump. I'm kind of glad I played it in the order that I did. I think if we did like here down to here, we would have, they would have mentioned people, and then we would have been like, who's that? Whereas I feel like going this way, we were able to like learn about people, and then going back like, oh, they might be connected in this way, and I think that's cooler. Whereas I think the way it was originally set up is here's how people are connected, and then the bottom ones are here's who the people are and how the people we know them. So hopefully we've gotten most of the info dumping out of the way. I mean, I personally dig info dumps, but reading it out loud for video recording is tough. Uh, yeah, I don't really know what's gonna happen from here. It seems like everything from here on out is gonna be actual curse bearer battle. So maybe we'll start getting actual like fighting and not fighting, but mind games, actual like defense, being smart about how to defend against curses and stuff. But yeah, thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.